Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm
And I'm
Sal.
Tiffany.
Comic book review show where we take the books from the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for comics that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. Of course, this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching this show live, congratulations, you are a sponsor of today's episode. All you got to do to sponsor today's episode is use the super chats, ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the program. If you don't want to do that or you can't for some reason, you can always help us out by going to patreon.com/comicpop and supporting us there more directly. Or if you have no scratch to give, totally understandable, no big deal. All you got to do to help us out is give this video a like and subscribe, of course, to this channel and go over to youtube.com/comicpop, our parent channel, which is really hard. It's funny to say, but like really it's just the other channel we own. And there's no hierarchy here, but you can go over there and sub there too. Helps us out in every way. Brian Rollins, for example, says, I was surprised with Amazing Fantasy #1. I thought it was really fun. Love Off the Rack and all the ComicPop does. Well, thank you, Brian. We love you too. We've really appreciated all of your years of support and, being here and helping us out. Yes, Tiffany, you have some thoughts on Amazing Fantasy #1 because you read it and you saw it and you recommended it from last week's episode.
I did.
So what's the deal with this book? Who made it? And, why is the cover so rad?
The cover's so rad because it's harkening back to old, sword and sorcery style imagery, which we're going to see a lot of in coming covers. Like there's one with Black Widow in the future that has like a Frazetta. It's a Frazetta cover, but
but not by him.
Her instead on it. This is created by Kari Andrews.
Oh, cool.
Writer, artist. There's a whole bunch of different styles in this.
Yes.
And it features, at least this issue features Captain America, Spider-Man, and Black Widow.
Okay.
Each from different time periods.
Okay.
And presumably each being brought to a strange but fantastical land.
So that's the theme.
Yeah. But you got like Spider-Man, like during a time in which like Gwen Stacy's still alive, right?
College, yeah.
And they're talking about how we've like someone mentions like we barricaded Cuba, and it's like okay, putting together when that might be.
Okay, all right.
You get Black Widow when she was still training.
Neat.
In the Red Room and such, and then you have Cap during World War II.
Awesome.
Each of them has a perilous moment and then they awaken in this new world.
Okay. Are they in the same world at the same time?
Presumably, yes.
Oh.
Yes, we haven't really seen that necessarily, like any sort of crossover yet. We've just seen each of them, but the art all matches up when we get to that new world because it's like for the Cap part of the book in the beginning, it has like an old kind of pulp feel.
Yes, it does.
Like,
yeah,
the very specific newsprint style printing on it.
Sure.
Natasha's story is a little more like story-ish in a way.
Yeah, storybook. It's got a more
neat.
illustrative quality.
Yeah,
but the art's great.
It is
across the board.
And then even the Spider-Man art, even though it's very similar to the book that as the rest of the book, it has like more of a colorful, like dynamic feel to it. So
gotcha.
I was like, that's kind of cool. And then when everybody gets there, it all kind of matches up. So presumably, I think they all just are in the same place.
Neat.
With like not a lot of explanation right now.
Okay.
It's funny because Cap, not knowing how long he's been there, could have been quite a bit, but like by the time we see him later on, he has but a like loincloth of his like
his uniform.
Like, yeah, I'm like, that's kind of funny and it looks dope.
Yeah. He's got a big beard.
Yeah, there's a bit of a reveal at the end of this issue.
Oh.
Like for example, Spider-Man when he arrives in this world ends up in a like Looney Tunes-esque scenario where he is in like a cauldron, like
I see,
being prepared as soup
naturally
by these like fish people.
Oh no!
He's like, okay,
right,
sure. And then like bird people show up, and he's like, I have to appreciate the fact that like it's bird people and fish people.
Yeah,
or no, not fish. Sorry, lizard people trying to eat a spider.
Right.
But like he also mentions the fact that like he wants to laugh at this and he should be able to, but like he's kind of scared.
Right.
It's like terrifying.
Well, everyone's at a earlier point in their careers during this issue.
Yeah, no, for sure. When he gets back to like the bird people's camp, because they take him, one of the bird people removes their head, which is just a helmet, and reveals like a beautiful woman, and he's just like, wow. It's like, yeah. And this is Spider-Man, obviously, who's not really involved with anybody. Like maybe with Gwen,
maybe
at this point, depending, you know what I mean? But like maybe not seriously.
Right.
But then like there's someone who like wants to talk to him and then they're excited to see him. And the reveal at the end of the issue is that Uncle Ben is here.
What? Okay.
And like he's kind of the leader of this tribe, and like they have this really like tender moment together. And
Wow.
like Uncle Ben's like, yeah, like we're dead, man.
Oh. I see.
He didn't make it. Like Goblin like launched some pumpkin bombs and he didn't make it. And
Okay.
like Widow like was tested by one of her instructors and it turned out to be a test that she didn't know. Like he said like I'll get you out of here, and it turned out that was a test of her loyalty, and so he shot her.
Oh.
And Cap died in a like they were all, the fleet was headed somewhere, the boat got bombed and he perished in that.
Okay.
Presumably.
Cool.
Presumably. I don't know.
Sure. They
so
didn't. Yeah.
Amazing Fantasy number 1 of 5. So it's a 5-issue limited series here. Written by Kari Andrews and drawn by Kari Andrews. It's a lot of fun, very different. Gave me kind of like a 1602-ish vibe in that way, where it's like, you know, hey, characters you know, but like, oh, what's going on kind of thing.
Sure.
I'm interested to see more from this. And if nothing else, these covers are so great.
Yeah.
They're so great. So
yeah, there'll be a great print one day.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Who did the covers, you know?
I think Kari did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's find out. Yep.
That's awesome. Dan of E900 says, I liked Superman, but I wanted to love it. It felt like something was missing for me, and the idea of John being the cure was a bit much at the end. Fair enough. Good review. Thanks a lot. He also mentions, I agree with the others, to say the Beta Ray Bill was the future collection, will be a great gift like Superman Smashes the Klan, Batman Universe, Old Man Hawkeye, and Superman Up in the Sky. So good. Yes, Beta Ray Bill number 5 came out last week. It was, of course, written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson with color art by Mike Spicer. The art was, of course, spectacular. Story was fun. It's a 5-issue mini. I saw a sad tweet, more or less, from a fan who said, you think we're going to get a sequel to this? And D-Dub said, I doubt it.
Aww.
So I'm guessing the sales weren't great, despite our praising of this series and our suggestions to you to put it on your pull list. Maybe it could get second life in the trade/hardcover world. And so my vain hope is that Beta Ray Bill will be re-released as a beautiful oversized hardcover and that everyone buys the damn
maybe
thing.
what he means is that like he doesn't have another story for these characters and he wants to work on something else.
That could be. That'd be very charitable. And I hope that's the case, because I'd like to see more, not only just from D-Dubs himself, but also of his Beta Ray Bill, which of course is heavily rooted in the interests and fandoms of his own time, which are exciting. But yeah, Beta Ray Bill number 5, it was great. Bill versus Surtur. What becomes of Scuttlebutt, Pip, and more and company? I guess you'll have to buy the book to find out. But I will say, heroes are victorious and villains are vanquished. That's all I'll put it for that.
And there's a nice letter in the back.
And there is, and this is kind of the fun. Another fun little addition is that this is the first published appearance of ComicPop in a Marvel comic book.
It's not like that.
And don't thank Daniel because he didn't do it. It was actually a fan who wrote a letter in the letters page of issue number 5, where they cited the interview that we had with Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yes.
Where, and I don't know whether it was the brief one he had on this show where we talk about and hype up Beta Ray Bill, or whether it was the one that you conducted from Elseworlds Exchange, our other podcast where we do live here on this channel, where you talked to him at length and he teased.
It must be. I think it's the other one.
I think it's yours. I think it's the big one, because that was a very substantive interview, and a lot was learned.
Right. I thought it was interesting. I don't know.
CVR the Bard.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not our Bard.
It's not our Bard. Well, it is our Bard.
Yes, because they referenced us. But
that was so nice.
If you want to pick it up for no other reason than get the first published appearance of ComicPop,
you can't say it like that.
Some intern had to write our name into this
thing. They had to copy and paste that letter.
That's right. They did.
There.
Yeah, they could have not. They could have not included it.
I think they have to.
No. Well, they don't have to include the letter. I'm saying they could have picked another letter.
That's true.
Raj Patel, I won't lie, I loved issue 1 of Taylor's Superman. He has made a career of making commercially bankrupt ideas gold. This is also the first I've loved John's presence since Super Sons. Fair enough. We are going to talk about the first Superman from Tom Taylor, or at least issue number 1 of Superman from Tom Taylor in a little bit. But before we do, we got so many other books to get through. And by get through, I mean talk about, because like it's not that we have to, we get to, Tiffany. We get to talk about these books.
That's right.
For example, I read Amazing Spider-Man number 71. This was a fun issue. Again, it's part of Sinister War. Issue 2 comes out of Sinister War, or part 2 of the main series, I think on Wednesday. So I'm definitely going to pick that up. But if you want more, you're going to need it. This is one of those tie-ins where it's like, okay, no. Sinister War is not just the main book. It also encompasses the Spider-Man title as well. Thankfully, I think it's just the one Spider-Man title.
Okay.
And even then, honestly, like, there's not much here that you need. It's more that it's there because otherwise there wouldn't be a lot there. You know, like you get some context, you get some you get some really good backstory for some of these characters. You know why they're doing things, or at least why they're acting a certain way when they do the things they do in the next series.
Right.
But if you thought the Kindred was over, he ain't. So much more. Sinister War should be, I think, the culmination of everything that Spencer's been doing on Spider-Man up to now.
Okay.
So he's it's interesting how he's been kind of like putting out fires and fixing things, and it felt like the whole thing, his whole run was that. But this has been a series where he has set up things, and he is paying off those things that he set up, even if we only really care about 2 of them. But
I'm sure some folk care about other ones.
Well, and I'm kind of impressed that he's able to weave them all together. That's the thing that like I really enjoy. Also, you've made a fan out of me for Federico Vincentini and Federico Sabatini. These Federicos are terrific and have just a really fun kind of almost evocative of Ryan Otley, but a little more European, a little more kinetic. A little bit of Ramos in there, but some great style and really conducive to an action-oriented issue like Amazing Spider-Man number 71. So check out that issue. If you are of a mind, if you're interested in Spider-Man, I would recommend it. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
So that's something that I read. I also read Infinite Frontier number 3, which of course was recommended to us by Joshua Williamson, who came on the show last week to plug it a little bit.
Yep.
It's just more setup, more questions, more clues. Did you read this one?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
You know.
Right. By the way, it's of course written by Josh Williamson with art by Zermanico and more. Yes, you actually pointed out a funny moment that I also noticed but didn't think to bring up. Which was that there's a Flash in this story, and if you can imagine,
I can't remember if it was this one because I had to read issue 2.
Right. I think it's this one.
I had to read issue 2 as well because I had not had the opportunity to catch up on issue 2. But yeah, there is a moment. Maybe it is this issue.
It might be. It is.
It is, and like it just hit me just the right way, and I sent it to you, and you're like, put that out there,
right?
Put that out there. I'm trying not to like, and I was like, does this give anything away? And you're like, no. And I'm like, good.
No. It's just that, like, we're seeing references to the past.
Yeah. Like, we've got that old style kind of look to the comics here. You got Jay and Barry running, and then Jay says something to Barry that just like, I was like, this is so funny. they have to know what they're doing, right? Like only you can be the hero the multiverse needs, Barry, but you must run faster than ever before.
Oh, is that what he needs to do?
Yeah.
Is that what Flash needs to do?
A change.
For a change, he's got to run faster than he ever has.
Yes.
Hard to believe.
Yes. And also that he is super important to
the multiverse. But I do love that that's actually a manipulation. It's just like Barry's so used to it. You bet I can. But actually, Psycho-Pirate is like messing with him and using him to power a nefarious machine.
Yeah.
It's also the main plot is basically that Alan Scott and his kids are looking for Jade.
Yeah.
And it leads them on an intergalactic quest.
Chase.
Yes, which ends up coalescing with Roy Harper, who is, of course, an interdimensional Black Lantern. We don't know anything more about it. Roy, of course, bumps into a new team of interdimensionally displaced heroes, one of whom is Jade. But we got some Power Girl finally. So it's just, this feels like such a DC circa 2005 kind of book, but in all the right ways. So I recommend Infinite Frontier, but again, don't read this issue alone. You got to read issues 1 through
Yeah, this
1, 2,
would
and
really, you would not, it wouldn't be great.
3. No,
You
it's
need some of that context that you get in the other
you
issues.
desperately need the context. It's vital. I also want to recommend a book that I picked up that I read thanks to a preview copy because we're members of the comics press, so to speak. Shadow Man number 4, or 5, 4, yeah, the last issue. 4, yeah. Shadow Man number 4,
Number 4.
from Cullen Bunn and John Davis Hunt. It's the last issue of the first arc, but I have it on good authority. Shadow Man will return. John's got a. Well, I can't talk anymore about it, but I will say that the art is one of the most like obvious triumphs of the series, and that will remain. That the art will continue to be excellent in the next iteration of Shadow Man for Volume 2. But this issue is really fun. It was just Jack is going to, I believe it's London, and he deals with yet another like villain of the week, monster of the week from the dead side, and this one has to do with drugs, and the art is just like that's where you get John Davis Hunt like going for it,
right.
Because if you're reading Hunt's run on the Wildstorm, the book is insufferably boring, but the art is undisputedly excellent. But he's also given like very few like just moments to cut loose. In this one, he gets a double page splash of the dead side meets drug use, and it just reminds me of that high as fuck moment from Saga.
Yeah,
but more deadly serious and more scary and interesting. They're both interesting, but one's played for laughs and the other one isn't. And so this was, but it implies we know now who like the main villain of this is. It implies a larger story, and I know on good authority that this will be bigger and it will get more intense. And I think if you like Valiant or if you've just jumped in, you will be rewarded for digging on this series. Yeah, and it all wraps out with basically saying like this villain of the week thing, it's unsustainable. You can only get like 4 issues out of this before it's going to get boring and stale. And that's kind of the meta commentary, but it's going to get bigger,
right?
And I love that, and I think it's really cool that like it gets bigger and it gets cooler, and you should definitely check it out. So if you haven't already, Shadow Man number 4, I like it.
Nice,
it's the best thing from Valiant I've seen in years. I also read Ninjak number 1.
Okay.
This is from a couple of weeks ago, but I forgot to reference it.
Right.
And I just, like, there's been a lot of like chatter about Ninjak returning. And the only thing I'll say, like, I'll give it some good and some bad, I guess, because like, that's what we do here. One of the good things is that like, there is this kind of undercurrent of, I don't know, it does feel the most like a James Bond type story.
Okay.
Everybody likens Ninjak to James Bond, probably because he's British and he works for the government and he's going on secret missions and stuff. Yeah. But James Bond doesn't like, and while James Bond advertises by saying his name in every mission, Ninjak advertises by wearing a big purple suit on every mission. That's their correlation. But in this case, very little Ninjak in the suit in this issue. And meh. Like, oh, that's kind of a neat idea. What they did was an interesting idea. It's drawn by Javier Pulido, whose art I can not defend or enjoy at all on any conceivable level. I'm sorry. It's like, an acquired taste.
Subjectively speaking, it's not for me.
Exactly.
It's a completely subjective opinion. I'm not a fan.
And it's never been. It's not like this is a bridge too far.
No.
I've never been a fan. And this did not do much to sway me.
That's fair.
Right. And unfortunately, I think that like, every artist has their strengths and their weaknesses. Some folk can do everything: adults, children, horses, cars. Some folk are really more like, I love Giuseppe Camuncoli's work when it's not on Spider-Man, when it's not on a monthly title. I love his work when it is done for characters that have no faces, when they're just wearing masks, or if he's drawing inorganic material like buildings. But his faces, they all have same face, and I have a real issue with that. But he's got his strengths. Camuncoli does an amazing job on that Other History of the DC Universe book. Yeah. Right? And those are his strengths. And his weaknesses, they're available. Javier Pulido's art,
again, that could be. Some of it's subjective though, but like I know that subjectively speaking, it's not for me, because I know there are a lot of people out there who do appreciate that style of art. Exactly. It's just not something that connects with me.
No, but I can't defend the book. I just can't look at it.
Don't look at it.
Don't look at it. Every time I opened it, I was just like, I just can't. I just got to stop looking at this.
Okay.
And it was the same deal with She-Hulk. I was like, oh my god! Like when my gut reaction is usually less. It's a lot more severe than my show reaction, which is hard to believe, ladies and gentlemen. But the fact is, like, I remember picking up that She-Hulk book. I think it was the one where it was the big reveal at the end of the Charles Soule run, and I was just like, this looks like a child drew it. Like I was so upset.
So I don't look. We got a lot of books to cover today, so I don't want to get too far into it. But for me, in particular, with that book, the problem was that I connected a lot with the art on the cover.
Oh my god!
And so, like, because I appreciated like that, and like there was just like I had an emotional reaction to that, and like
and then just such a jarring shift.
It was a very jarring shift to something I really don't respond to. So that made it worse.
Yeah, like if you love his art, stand by it and put it on the cover.
Well, listen, that doesn't always happen.
That doesn't always happen.
That
That's
doesn't
fair.
always
There's
happen.
A lot
of
Bagley work, and I don't see a lot of Bagley pencils in a lot of these Spider-Man books.
Yeah.
Amari Writer says the problem is that it still isn't the kid Jonathan Kent we lost. Just a well-written version of the Bendis aged-up one. The Super Sons dynamic, decades of potential stories, skipped for forced development. I hear what you're saying, man. And I promise you, we were going to get into John and the status quo and this Tom Taylor book. It is the talk of the town, even if Superman normally isn't, and I think that's probably one of the strengths of this book.
Nice.
Is that anybody's talking about it.
Well, good thing I didn't read it.
Yeah.
I was at home.
They're fine. Mikey Jesus, thank you for your perfect blend of journalistic integrity and entertainment. I tell customers to watch you. Often they return and buy trades you cover. Well, thank you, Mikey.
Yay! And
that's
also,
good to hear.
I'm glad that they're coming back to pick up the trades from your shop in particular.
Exactly.
And not just necessarily online.
No,
so
not from the Space Racer. No, buy your comics like from local shops if you can.
When you can, if you have a local comic book store, yeah,
patronize it. But thank you, man. The Therio God of Rage. Happy to see you both. I was literally checking to see, did I say this wrong? Have you been suggesting that I say it right? The wrong, like, is this one of those names that I keep reading that I'm like wrong about all the time?
No, it's not that one.
Happy to see you both. Happy to see you too, man. Did either of you keep up with the 5-issue mini for Black Knight that just ended? Rage on.
I'm one issue behind, and like listen, folks, I had to make priorities on like when I saw the number of books. Initially, I thought my stack was only so big, and then it got bigger, and then my stack was not so big. So I will try to talk about that next week.
Okay.
Just because I know there's a lot we got to get through, and I don't want to not talk about it. But I was like, you know what, we can come back to that.
That's fair.
Although there were some things that I read this week too that I was like, yeah, I could have waited on that, but you don't know.
No, it's true. I will also plug Daredevil number 32.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have so many things to just plug then when we get through.
I'm sorry. All right, you take it away.
No, go. You're already talking about it. Everybody wants to hear about Daredevil.
Fine, I'll talk about Daredevil. Daredevil number 32 from Chip Zdarsky and Mike Hawthorne. Bullseye is going nuts. He's got like he's got a mission from God, so to speak. He's he's a blues brother now. But basically, he's shooting up the city, and there's like a citywide quarantine. Great idea. Just such a good idea that like the city's on lockdown. They don't know where Bullseye is. There's this big twist for Bullseye that I won't reveal right now. Elektra's got to deal with him. Elektra versus Bullseye. Yeah. Spider-Man shows up. Daredevil's dealing with stuff. Daredevil was a self-righteous pain in the ass the whole last like arc because he's in jail for no good reason. Now we know the reason, and it's actually justifiable. And I'm like, oh, this is all coming together. Besides the fact that like I miss Marco Cicchetto on pencils. And I know that Hawthorne is wrapping up on the series, so it's not like Cicchetto will be. It's not like Cicchetto's leaving the book, so I'm sad. It's more like, yay, Cicchetto hopefully will be coming back. He's doing some great work on the covers, and he of course did some great work for the first several arcs of the series, which I think put it on the map. I mean, like Zdarsky's story is great, but Cicchetto's pencils are just so complimentary, and it's just that costume alone, the Daredevil costume for Elektra. But the designs and everything is just fantastic. It's a phenomenal series. I love this book. I can't wait to see who's going to pick up because I don't think Cicchetto's going to just suddenly be like, oh, I can start doing monthly books again. Like I think either he's been doing another arc or he's been just building up his time and working on the covers. But I want to see more Cicchetto.
That cover is great.
It's a great cover. It's just a great series. Daredevil's an amazing book.
That's really nice.
If you haven't already picked up, you should. So. But thank you for everybody for your kindness, and thank you, Mikey, for supporting us and for plugging us in your store. That's always so nice to see.
Thank you.
Digging on Daredevil, which is not a surprise by now. But What did you read?
I read a lot.
Yeah. Give me some lightning round books.
I read Shang Chi.
Oh,
I read Shang Chi. I've read all
versus
3.
whatever.
Well, it's versus the Marvel Universe basically, and I've read all 3 issues so far, and I've honestly haven't I mean it. I've enjoyed all 3 issues of this.
I remember you liking the first one, and that's all I heard about for a while. So
yeah, well, I missed the last one at the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far, we've seen Spider-Man, we've seen
Captain
Captain
America,
America, and
that
Wolverine. Intrinsically, this is a book about Shang-Chi. That's who it's about.
Right.
It's about what Shang-Chi is doing. It's about him reforming his family and his father's organization,
Sure.
the 5 weapons, and trying to make it a force for good. And then of course running into individuals who may be familiar,
don't buy it.
Right, or maybe familiar with him, but also familiar with the organization, and is
Yeah.
And so in this, essentially, he and his siblings are off to find another one of their siblings who they thought was dead.
Yeah.
They were supposed to have been killed by, I think Brother Saber. If I'm correct. Hopefully it's Saber. I think that's what it is, not Sword. But
Right.
we're dealing with Wolverine, so immediately the word Saber wants to come to mind.
Sure.
Anyway, he was supposed to have killed this person, their sister. And he didn't. He let her go.
Oh.
And so he failed the family. And Shang-Chi's like, no.
Yeah, no, that's not a failure.
No. Because she wanted to also reform everything. He's like, no. Now's our chance to make amends. They're like, no.
No, we gotta fight.
It is. No, come on. So they go out there, and Wolverine's there. And why is Wolverine there? Well, Wolverine's there because he's like, I'm here to extend an invitation to a mutant.
Which one?
The sister.
Oh, no way.
They're like, she's a mutant? And then they're like, yeah, Dad had a real problem with mutants, so he must have known.
Uh-oh.
And that's why he tried to get rid of her.
Cool. Okay.
And it's just interesting. It's fun. It's interesting. We do see some fighting, some pretty dope action going on here.
Yeah.
I've just really enjoyed it. I actually am digging the story of Shang-Chi's attempt at trying to fix this calamity that he has before him to make it work it for good.
Yeah.
But I'm also enjoying, these little guest spots by heroes. And I understand why they're doing it.
Oh, sure, but they're doing it in a clever way.
They're doing it in a clever way where it doesn't just feel like
every issue of Darkhawk.
Yeah.
Guest starring Venom, guest starring Sleepwalker, guest starring Spider-Man, guest starring Wolverine.
Yeah, they're not really they kind of are one-off stories, but they're all connected to one another in terms of building to something else. So just honestly enjoying it.
Yay.
And happy to be on the Shang-Chi train right now.
Yeah, it was a smart move. This is actually one of the few books for Marvel that actually is coming out that's leading up to a release.
I know.
It's
so I'm excited.
Yay.
So they are saying in 2 months it'll be Shang-Chi versus the Fantastic Four.
Oh, that's fun.
All right. Next month there'll be a Voices Identity where Shang-Chi will be in there. So I think that's where they're writing is going to be going for that month, and then 2 months we'll get the next number 4.
Okay.
With the Fantastic Four.
Cool.
It's number 4.
Oh, genius. Written by Jean Louis Yang, by the way, with art by DK Ruin.
Yes.
Cool.
So, and the art's great.
Yeah.
The action's great. Art's great.
I never heard of them, but they do work that I feel like I've seen before.
Right?
I like it a lot.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's great. Yay, good. What else you got?
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, are we doing super chats? Are we?
Oh, yeah, I guess I should. Deb M says, interested in the Green Knight. Morgan Le Fay seems to be important in it, and all I know about her is the Doctor Doom and that he fancies her. Dad, I'll see him. Yeah, he's probably not going to be in the Green Knight movie. I haven't seen the trailer yet, and I was supposed to watch it a long time ago, but I know that I think the movie's coming out soon because movies are messed up. So I will definitely check out the trailer and then I'll get back to you. Therio God of Rage. Don't worry, Sal. You're one of the very few who say my name correctly. Either you care about the Eternals run right now, rage on. What do you, you love Eternals.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Eternals then. That was where I was going next. Do either of us care about it? I read all of it.
I know you. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Is this the end or is there more?
This is the end of this chapter. So this is written by Kieran Gillen with art by Asad Ribic. It'll be followed up by a Thanos book, which makes total sense.
Of course.
This is the end of this arc, so I don't really want to jump
into the next one.
No, I don't want to just jump into telling you what happened because you haven't had a chance to catch up and you were interested in catching up. Because obviously there's the machine, the Eternals machine that powers the Earth is dying.
Oh no.
And that's been a constant struggle throughout these 6 issues, and like what happened and why, and we find out who the traitor is, and they're working with Thanos, and
Okay.
why are they working with Thanos, and like that's revealed, and there's another thing that's revealed, and, yeah.
Okay, cool. Is it good? Are you enjoying it?
You know what's funny is I started reading the beginning of the issue, and I was like, well, okay, here we go, like last issue for here for now,
Yeah.
right? And like by the end of it, I was like more now, please.
Damn right.
But like that's just Kieran Gillen doing what Kieran Gillen does, like crafting a really great story, and then like all of a sudden it's over, and you're like, but what?
Right.
So yeah, so the next thing is that like Thanos book. It's Thanos Rises, and then I think there is another thing coming out as well. But I really, really enjoyed this. I think folk, if they like had any interest in it, maybe they picked up the first issue and then maybe they didn't pick up anymore, which might have happened. I think you might dig it as a trade.
Yeah.
Like I think you might dig it as a trade, something you could just sit down and read it. Because each issue calls on things or calls back to things that happen.
Yeah.
Like most stories do, but this one definitely does.
Right.
So I think it's helpful to be able to not have those monthly gaps.
Totally.
For this book, for sure. Yeah, it's a solid ending. It's a little sad.
Yay, good.
But I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the future of the Eternals.
Good for Eternals.
Yeah.
Mika Rappaport says, a lot of people are talking about John in the new issue, but my biggest gripe was Damian. I didn't feel like he talked the way Damian talks. He just said what Tom Taylor needed him to say. Yeah, man, no, he talks exactly like Tom Taylor's Damian. He talks just like Damian from Deceased. That's why he looks like the Damian from Deceased. That's why he's a little older in that
Oh, really?
in the image. He's not supposed to be. It's just that's, he just isn't. It's just whatever.
Okay.
People want that. Taylor wants that. And so that's how it is. I mean,
okay.
That's a fair gripe. It's a fair point. And Lawrence Perry says, just wanted to say, hey. So, hey, what's up, Lawrence? Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate the support. What else you got?
I read Cable.
Yes, you did read Cable.
I read Cable number 12, written by Jerry Duggan with art by Phil Noto.
Wow, he did the interiors too?
Yeah.
Good.
It's been him the whole time.
No way.
Presumably,
his covers are amazing.
This is it.
This is the end of Cable?
I think it says end.
It's 12 issues.
Yeah.
Might as well.
But how everybody was like, where's old Cable? I've had enough of young Cable. Blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
Blah, blah. I don't know if that's what you actually sound like, those who had that problem.
That was me.
But old Cable has been back, and it's funny. I won't ruin the end of Eternals, but I will tell you about what happens in this.
They kill him, probably.
They don't. They kill Strife.
Oh, good.
They take care of him.
So Cable does die.
Yes. What's hilarious though is as Strife is losing horrifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's still going down. He's like, okay, all right, hang on, hold on. I'm technically a mutant. I seek asylum on Krakoa, and they're like, did you? No, it's like it's young Cable and old Cable. They're both got guns to his head, and they're like, young Cable's like, I've got a little ringing in my ear. Did you hear what he said? He said, I think he said, make it quick, and they just shoot him. And I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
Okay, yeah, that's funny.
Neat.
But they realize that there are more Strife clones to be had, and they have to fight them on 2 fronts basically, and so young Cable has to go back
to the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Da da da.
All right, bye.
But it's sad. It's really actually.
Does he say goodbye to his family?
He says goodbye to everybody
okay.
because he and Esme had they'd broken up, but then she realized after getting into Strife's mind for a moment that she understood who he was and why he has to do things and why he acts the way he does.
Yeah.
And she's like, now that it's killing me too because I want to be with you again, and now I know I can't.
Right.
Because he has to leave.
Yeah.
And so I guess
because this is who you are, and I would never let you be like this.
No. Because she realizes that he's so different. This Cable's so different.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
And when they say their goodbyes, he's like, I want to tell her that it was all worth it just to have been with her.
Aww.
But he's like, but I won't do that to her.
Okay.
And so he leaves, and then he goes and says goodbyes to his family, and it's sad. Everybody's tearful. And
Scott's like, I hate old man Cable. I hate this guy.
No, Jean gives him a big hug, and then Scott's like, what do we do to win?
Right.
As he's holding his son's shoulder, and he's like, whatever it takes. He's like, there you go. You got this.
Aww.
Go give him hell. And I'm like, it's really sweet.
That is sweet.
Cable gives him his arm that he should have, his Cable arm. He's like, here, take this one, kid.
What? Okay.
It's whatever. But then you see a scene from another time in which it looks like Cable and Esme ended up together.
Oh,
and it's really sweet.
That's nice.
She's like, don't give the kid a hard time. I got a soft spot for him. I'm like, oh. It was just a very sweet little story with like a what are we doing with the ending kind of ending, but like it was nice. It was nice, and they put everything back. So,
yay! Yeah. That's cool. Nice, good for them.
Yeah, but not sure where we're going next. But like we keep like ending books and then adding books. So.
Yeah, it's been par for the course with Marvel right now. Jay mentioned that. Oh, I'm sorry. Dan V900 has a review. I would recommend The Green Knight if you enjoy watching a man walk and ride a horse for a long time. No exaggeration. 30 minutes could be cut out. Cool. Can't wait. And Jay, Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade was great. Good to hear.
Yeah.
I know that you've enjoyed what you have read, and looking forward to reading the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what else? I guess we should talk about Strange Adventures really quick. Strange Adventures.
We're really not going to get into it.
No, we're not getting into the weeds with Strange Adventure number 11 of 12 from Tom King, Mitch Gerrits, and Evan Shaner. This book is nuts and has been since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No.
It's a terrific series, and I hope everyone's reading it. I would not pick up this issue. I'd pick up 1 through 11. Then you've got to wait another extra month for the final conclusion.
Yeah, I'm.
What do you think? How'd you like it, by the way?
You know how people use like the term page turner?
Yeah.
It literally is that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is absolutely a page turner. And I cannot wait to see how this wraps up.
No. Me too.
I also love that alien species that they introduced.
Yeah,
they're adorable and
scary
and creepy AF.
Yeah, no, they are.
But I was like, wow, they're so pretty. And I'm like, okay, nope.
Less cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's a triumph as usual.
The
art's, really, we never really talk about it, but it's amazing.
The art is spectacular. Both are killing it. Absolutely.
Yeah, Gerrits and Shaner.
Yeah.
Just working seamlessly together.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see how this turns out. Because I know for a lot of folk, like they didn't like from Mr. Miracle the like nebulous ending.
Yes,
and
there's no way.
I don't think that we're getting a nebulous ending.
We're getting a concrete ending.
And so I would say that like if you liked conceptually what was going on, Mr. Miracle, but didn't necessarily like that style of like you don't 100% know what's going on, and that's too interpretive. The point. Yeah, this might be more for you because this feels like it's going to have like a pretty solid ending.
Agreed. So check that out. What else you got?
I read Wonder Woman.
Okay, yeah, of course you did. So
of course I read Wonder Woman.
Yeah, you were worried. So here's the thing about Wonder Woman, a little preamble for this, because the last run or the last arc,
yes,
same creative team.
Yep.
But which by the way is Michael Conrad and Becky Cloonan.
Yes.
And Jordi Belair. But
actually this time it's Jill Thompson.
Oh.
And Becky Cloonan.
Cool.
Does the art.
But you've been loving this run, but we're leaving the realm you liked to see where it was going. And I remember the last issue, you dug it, but we're kind of like in the next arc now. So how do you like it?
So, okay. So this issue, number 776, takes us to the realm of the Fae folk.
Yes.
Which like naturally I'm like, okay.
Okay,
I'm in. I enjoyed the Avalon arc of gargoyles, and so so like yeah, I mean they change up the artist to be Jill Thompson, who I've seen before. She worked on some Sandman stuff. She's worked on a couple of things that I've read.
Yes, I've heard the name.
She has a more illustrative quality to her work, but also kind of at times a little bit more of a cartoony element to her work. And while I dig the style and I think it befits the story that they tell, I feel like her work doesn't have that like tight consistency
that you've been used to.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, like there's that. But I gotta tell you, like, so we go to this realm, right? And the story in this issue is a little more like light feeling.
A little fillery.
It's not that necessarily that, yes. And to be fair, it does befit the idea of the Fae realm, because you go to the Fae realm and it's like, it's all bullshit.
Thanks, Alan.
So bullshit. But it is when you think about it. You know, the rules are different there. If you make a promise and you break that promise,
we get your legs or something. We get some, yeah.
Promises mean everything, and you know, up is down, down.
Except they don't have to keep their promises.
No, they do.
Oh, okay.
But that they're clever,
right?
It's all about being clever and a trickster, and you know, you watch out, don't eat anything, and don't do this, and don't look at the sun, or don't want, you know, you gotta be careful. So
a lot of rules.
You have a lot of rules, and like it's whimsical, or it should be. But this story not only feels like a little fillery, which is ridiculous to think that, because they're like, it feels like they were realm hopping. At least that's what I thought they were.
That's what I thought the direction of the show
Except they're not. They're literally, they go through here, and then the last page is that she ends up on Earth.
Oh.
And so I was like, so we're not hopping through various realms?
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to like go and like explore different mythos, because I thought that was kind of cool. The idea that it's like she's following Janice through different myth and legend, and it's like that, like as Janice is killing individuals. Right. Janice kills the queen of the Fae realm.
Oh. Well,
and so like when Wonder Woman shows up, she's accused of doing that because Janice looks like Wonder Woman, right?
Right.
It's kind of a standard story, right?
Yes.
The tone that it's written, though, makes it feel silly.
Right. Yeah, it's not taking itself seriously.
No, especially like, and like I had a problem with this from the get-go. Like in this, Siegfried ends up showing up.
Okay.
Because he's like called to help, right? And she has a nickname for him, and she only uses the nickname.
Why?
Because I don't know. I don't know, but it's Siggy.
Oh, I see.
She just keeps using it, and for some reason I don't know why, but that bugs me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And like it, like
I've seen, I've gotten that feeling before. Yeah.
Listen, I don't think that Wonder Woman or any character has to constantly be super serious.
No.
Right? Like everybody can have a bit of levity in their adventure. This just, it was already at that level, and then we take it like, and I'm like, it just kind of pulled me out. Unfortunately, this issue, even though really it's like we're talking magic, we're talking fae, we're talking fun illustrative sort of art, right? Really should have been up my alley. But there was just something about the tone of the story. It just didn't hit with me, unfortunately. So wasn't a big fan of this one. Honestly, you probably, like, other than the fact that like the next issue would be she's on Earth, and I think Siegfried is with her. That would be the one thing you'd be like, wait, what?
Right.
Otherwise, you could just probably skip this one.
Yeah.
Just go to the next one.
Right.
So
maybe we'll do that. That's a shame. Cubenix asks, off topic, did you see or want to see Old? Apparently it's adapted from a French graphic novel. This is an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
No, of course I want to see it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lunatic.
Right.
Because I do. It's about old people, but it's not. It's like kind of whatever. No, because like I can't help it. Like for good or for bad.
You are in on the M. Night Shyamalan train.
I have to. I don't know why. Don't know why. Listen, I'm one of those people who I'm like, there are kind of elements of Lady in the Water I dig.
Yeah.
There are elements of that movie I dig.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't necessarily like it as a whole.
I don't like the movie.
I think most of it's Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, well, that's it. Right? That's what it is.
Yeah. So
that's too bad. I read Detective Comics number 1040. This is from Mariko Tamaki and Dan Mora.
Yay!
I know. I'm like, oh, yay. This feels like it's been going on forever. But so like the trade is going to be like, oh, so he's in jail again. Oh, so then he gets out. Oh, so then he's in jail again. Oh, like there's no Batman in this book, especially not in this issue. Like Bruce Wayne, I don't think ever puts on the Batman costume, though we do get one of the best Dan Mora depictions of Batman I've ever seen. Did you read any of this?
I read like the first issue, and then I was like,
no, I mean this issue.
No,
because I told you that it had a big moment in it. You didn't read any of it yet?
No.
Okay, well then I won't give it away.
No, you should. It's okay.
All right. Well, this has a backup in it too.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the first part. This is just Bruce Wayne. There's a character they're really pushing that looks like Kraven the Hunter whose daughter was killed, and Bruce Wayne's the suspect, and he he's rich, so he uses
this. Kraven the Hunter?
Yeah, he looks just like Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
And he because he's rich, he can like use a bazooka in the middle of town and blow up the building he can blow up the prison trying to kill Bruce Wayne.
Oh, that's
Bruce
totally
Batman's
fine.
up to fight him, and then just puts himself up. And then he basically calls Oracle and he's like, I'm done being in here. You got to use all you just pull me the fuck out of here.
Right.
Like, just be done.
Mhm.
By the way, great looking Tiffany character here in form of Oracle. I don't know. I just love Barbara Gordon's design. Something about it really speaks to me.
Yeah.
But overall, Batman is just he's done. He's like, just give them all the evidence they need to be done with this, please.
Mm.
They did not kill off the like I don't know journalist that they invented for the story.
Okay.
Batman meets while he's in like the holding tank. He meets a drunk who's like, "You're Bruce Wayne. I know that you're Batman." And Bruce is like, "Oh yeah, how do you figure that?" And he's like, "I saw you one time. I was a janitor and I worked for this thing. It was a long time ago. You were fighting the Joker, and I hid because I know when Joker's involved, I got to get the hell out of there. And I was hiding, and I heard your boots on the roof that I was hiding on, and I looked and I saw you. You must have gotten something in your eye, and it shows like, Batman like lift his thing, and he's like, and I saw it was Bruce Wayne." And then he sobers up like overnight while Bruce is in the tank, and he doesn't remember the conversation. It's just a really cool scene. It's a really well written scene that also is an excuse for us to see a full page splash of Batman fighting the Joker.
That's dope.
Yeah, here it is.
With like the old it's the Joker fish.
Yes, it's the laughing fish episode. Or it's not. Maybe he had another laughing fish. It's interesting because it is what people now affectionately refer to as the Neil Adams suit,
Yes.
though I call it the Norm Brayfogle suit.
Okay, well, fine.
But also it's not, because they're using the 1989 Batman movie emblem with the incorrect bat signal.
Yes, you don't like the extra thing.
I don't like the extra thing. But
feet.
this is so great.
Yeah.
This page is amazing that it's worth not having Batman appear in this book in real time. But great stuff. And fun intrigue. Also, like Penguin's involved in the big, in a big plot, if you will, to kill Bruce Wayne.
I just love looking at this art. What the hell?
Mora's got it. So Batman is.
Oh no!
Man-Bat died. That's the big reveal. Is that Man-Bat is dead. And
I have been out of the loop.
Don't worry, he was killed in this one story by Dan Waters with art by Max Rayner. Basically, this backup story in Detective Comics ties in Justly Dark, the Man-Bat book, and the Batman series. Like
they're like, yeah, why not?
Where Batman's basically like, I never liked Langstrom, and I never trusted him either. Dude experimented on himself to become a bat. That's why when Wonder Woman told me she wanted him on her little Justice League, I was like, no. But she did anyway because she does what she wants. And supposedly, last time I heard he was at like some tower in the middle of nowhere, the Tower of Fate. And wouldn't you know it, he came back to Gotham. And he's screaming about his wife. The woman that he won't leave alone. And so he, Batman confronts Man-Bat. Batman's like, no, you don't understand. And he has apparently something came along with Man-Bat from another dimension. And it's inside of him. And it's like the darkness within him.
Yeah.
And it won't let him go. And basically Man-Bat, it kills Man-Bat to come out. And fear is the thing that feeds it.
It looks like a centipede.
It does look like a centipede. Yeah. And Batman is, he faces it head on, and then Man-Bat basically uses his last ounce of strength to retain it and keep it. And basically, now that people know it exists, it means that any fear of it will bring it back, will conjure it.
Okay.
So Man-Bat is you got to keep the secret, and so you can't tell Francine why I'm dead, because she'll know about it.
Okay.
And then if she fears it, it will give it strength. And Batman's like, she deserves to know why her husband's dead. He learns to forgive Langstrom for his monsterism, even though everyone else did
He's
years
just mad
ago.
because of the branding thing.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Well, that's fair. I mean, Batman is nothing if not a brand manager.
He's
all about that branding.
Brandaholic.
But really cool story. I really enjoyed it. I don't normally read the backups. I don't like them.
I don't normally like Man-Bat.
I don't really give a shit about Man-Bat. I've never read a Man-Bat story I actually enjoyed. I've only seen that one episode that I really like.
Right. Okay.
Then there's another one where she becomes Man-Bat, and that's pretty cool. But otherwise, Man-Bat, whatever. And I kind of, but it's weird they were like, yeah, let's kill him off. Tynan was like, I got an idea for Man-Bat. And Ram V's like, and I'm going to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went, we'll just kill him in backup.
It's fine. Justice League Dark's basically over.
Right. I mean, literally, Justice League Dark is a backup in another book.
Mm-hmm.
A lesser book, you might say.
Oh.
Silvery Cricket says, sorry, I'm late. I was stuck in traffic. How is Black Knight?
Apparently, I made all the wrong decisions this week.
Right.
And I didn't.
No, you made great decisions.
I did. Well, no, I didn't, because I would say that I wish I hadn't read the Wonder Woman book over that.
Oh, yeah. Well, but what are you going to do? You loved that series, and I don't blame you.
And I'm not going to not read the next one. I just really didn't enjoy this last issue.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so there's that. What else did you read?
I read Wolverine.
Wolverine.
I read Wolverine.
Yeah, how is it?
Written by Benjamin Percy.
Yeah.
Art by Adam Kubert.
What? Hooray.
It looks spectacular.
It better. With a Kubert on it.
I like this story a lot. 2 dings.
Mm-hmm.
First ding, cover gives away the
big reveal.
The end.
Damn it.
And so did the preview, because it immediately told us all the fact that Solemn was going to be in it. And that's the reveal, is that Solemn is going to be in it. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
2.
Mm-hmm.
There is a moment in this book that made me so mad.
Yeah.
For a very specific reason.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the gist of it. This is post Hellfire Gala, right? We're dealing with the Marauder ship that got blown up with Emma Frost's brother on it, and had the Logic Diamonds on it.
Right.
And we got what happened?
God.
What happened to the boat? So Wolverine has to go and investigate what happened to the boat.
Sure.
So he has to go to Madripoor. So he's real upset about that.
Yeah.
So he is investigating the boat, right? And he's legit doing this little Batman thing there, right? And he's like, yep, I got a couple of guys here. I got their rib cages broken. Finds a flask. He sniffs it. He's like, Soviet flask filled with vodka. Okay, Russians on the boat too. What were the Russians doing here?
Yeah,
he's putting it together. Then he spots something in the floor.
Okay.
Right, and he goes over to it. And what he finds is, he goes, it looks like a blood splatter to me, but corrosive, acidic, cut all the way through the hull. And I was like,
aliens.
This is literally think about it. The Logic Diamonds came with the Shi'ar Empire.
Right.
Right? There was a shipment that came down with them.
Yes.
What if an alien egg accidentally
xenomorph egg.
And I was like,
yes.
That is not at all what this is. And I was like, and I knew that in my heart of hearts, I knew that's not what it was. But I was so mad at that moment, because I'm like, that's the pitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wolverine in Madripoor chasing down an alien.
Right. Yeah. That's the book. That's the mini series called Wolverine versus Aliens.
I was so okay, well, let me just get over that and then continue reading.
Yeah. Especially since Marvel can't make a alien book to save their lives.
Well, I just gave you one.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, regardless, what it turns out is that it's people are being played against one another, and there is a Bane-looking character from Araco.
Oh.
Who is a pirate who has acid blood.
Oh. That sucks.
No, it doesn't. It's kind of cool because then Wolverine has to go to this secret pirate graveyard thing.
Okay, that's awesome.
Which is looking. Dope looking.
Yeah.
It's just really great looking because Adam Kubert's drawing it.
Yeah.
And he's like, of course they'd go here. It's like a bloodbath. And so he ends up this guy's got the most ridiculous boat ever. And Wolverine jumps on a nearby jet ski thing and challenges him. He's like, if I knock you off, you got to tell me information.
Right.
And he's like, what if I win? He's like, that's not going to happen. And then Wolverine just launches himself into him and pushes them both overboard.
Nice.
And Wolverine's these big guys, they think they're going to win with muscle. All you got to do is out crazy them.
I love that. He's not wrong, by the way. That is how you win a fight.
But it's really spectacular. There's a great image, and if anyone ever used a bookmark ever again, I want this as a bookmark. It's just Wolverine and this big dude, and there's just all these great whites. It's just really pretty looking. Yeah. It's just really a spectacular looking book.
Nice.
Inevitably, they both come to the agreement that they both won and lost, and then they proceed to drink together, and they talk. They chat it up a little bit.
Yeah.
The dude reveals the fact that he's here's why I'm here, because like I basically got tricked into doing this by the same guy who like screwed me over by taking my nose. He removes like his like mask, he's missing his nose, and it was Solemn.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm gonna guess if you're here, you're just in the same boat, even if you don't know it. But like that was the reveal. It's literally the last page reveals that Solemn is involved, and I'm like, I knew Solemn was involved because Solemn's on the cover. And if you don't know who Solemn is, then you missed out on Ten of Swords, where Solemn was an Iraqi fighter who came to the Ten of Swords event and then disappeared from it.
Right.
And came to Earth and has been wandering about. But like he's intrinsically tied to Wolverine. So there you go. Honestly, this book looks so good. It's worth the price to just have the images of Wolverine doing Wolverine things.
Yeah.
And also that one moment where you, for a second, Wolverine was in an alien movie. I was so like, damn.
Well, maybe one day.
Right?
But that book is still great. Good.
It is.
I'm glad to hear it. Really quick shout out. I just want to say Vault makes this book called Barbaric. It is it's good. It's a good book. It looks great. It's written, of course, by Michael Moretti with art by Nathan Gooden. If you don't know Nathan Gooden, you will.
Nice.
One of them big twos is going to scoop him up and spit him out, and he is amazing. Great stuff. Awesome work. Barbaric number 2. Check it out.
Nice.
Did you read Reptilian? Did you find it?
No.
Okay. All right. That's a book that's out.
Yeah, I wanted to read it.
I know.
But then I read the other thing that I knew we were pitching, like talking about.
Yeah, that's right. We're
so I had to make a choice.
That's fair.
Because we both forgot this. Neither of us bought it, and then I was like, "Wait, did you buy this?"
Yeah.
But then you were like, "Hey, we got to talk about this other book." So I read that book. That'll be next week.
That's right. Girk Pectus, have you read Howard Mackey's Mutant X? It's so hilariously bad. Elektra is Havoc's girlfriend and nanny for some reason.
That's because Howard Mackey.
Yeah. who's a lovely man.
He's such a friendly dude. He really is. And I just,
Yeah. Tristan Smith, here's some change for keeping me going in my master's. Keep up the great work. I can't wait to listen to you while I teach classes at my university. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you in the next echelon of your life, man.
Yeah.
Mike Hertel says, thanks for your work. Usually I don't get to hear you live. Well,
thank you do very
now.
Much. Hello.
So thanks, Mark. What else did you do? Did you do Sword?
I did do Sword.
Good.
That's so funny.
Sword.
Because I was like, I did something else and I just didn't see it. There it is.
Yeah.
I read Sword this week.
Yep.
It's written by Al Ewing with art by Stefano Caselli, which I was like,
yeah.
damn. Where'd Valero Schiti go?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it still good though?
It's still good. Okay, so everybody, this is issue 7 of Sword. And I think out of 7 issues, 4 issues have been tie-ins.
Yes. Yeah. What the hell's The Last Annihilation? I've even heard of this.
What do you think it's about?
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, like,
it's an event that's going on, in particular in space with the Guardians.
Oh my god, again with the Guardians.
But it's
Ewing's
Dormammu.
What?
It's about Dormammu having merged with Ego,
what?
And so like right now, like mindless ones are pouring out on various planets.
Oh, so like they're the mindless wave.
So here's the thing about this.
It sucks.
Here's the thing about this. This book is like totally makes sense.
Yeah.
That it would tie in.
Right.
Because it's
in space.
It's in space. It's in space.
Yeah.
100%, right? Wiccan's involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got to get Wiccan involved somehow because his mom just died.
Yes. His mom's dead, and Hulkling is, of course, like in charge of space.
Yeah. So like it makes sense. However,
right, that's not what this book is.
However, no, it is. No, 100% it is.
Okay.
It completely is, and like it does the thing where it furthers the plot of what's going on, kind of, but also just deals with the tie-in elements, but also furthers the plot, right?
Okay.
Let's keep that there. It feels like, because Al Ewing's writing this and Guardians, it feels like when you're in a class and the professor makes you buy their book.
Yes.
For class.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like
I'm not buying your Guardians book.
Totally makes sense that he tied this in. But if you're not reading any of his X-Men and you want to read this event, maybe you'll buy this book as a tie-in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just felt like it gave me those vibes where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Al.
Sure.
Yes. Does this be like, hey, by the way, if you're not reading Guardians, you have to read the context page and look some stuff up. Right. You're going to need to do that just to kind of get a feel for it. Right. If you don't really care about that element of it. What you're going to get from this is the fact that it's like Doom hung around post party
Yes.
on Mars,
Right.
and has a fancy dinner with Storm.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I've heard that.
It is great. He hilariously says something though that I'd never imagined Doom saying, and yet I don't know what else you'd call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they're having a meal, and like she asks him how the bouillabaisse is. And he goes, I refuse to open my mouth grill for any dish less than magnificent, Aurora. And this is superlative, right? But I was like, your mouth grill?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what else would I call that? But
you've never referred to it
it's
before.
So funny.
Yeah.
So funny to hear Doom say that.
Yeah.
They have a verbal sparring match, essentially, those two.
Yeah.
He's like, it's good to see you like in the station you should be.
Finally being a queen.
Yeah, and not a king's wife.
Yes.
And she's like, okay.
Okay.
You want to talk about our marriages?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah, well, Human Torch never cuckolded me.
He's like, we should probably just speak matters in hand. And he like breaks down what Mysterium is, the metal.
Yes, the metal.
Completely breaks it down. And he's like, I know what it is.
Oh, cool.
He's like, I figured it all out. But then he's also like, and you have like no idea what's going on in space. And then like she's told what's going on in space. And he's like, I can see by your face you get it now. But I'd be happy to help you and fill you in.
Right. I'll be your like vizier.
Yeah. And then she like hits him with lightning and is like, yeah,
I'm good.
You offer to teach me like how to crawl, but we've already learned how to fly. And I'm like, okay, it's a pretty dope conversation between them. So that's what we're going to like really establish there, is that like Doom honestly has a big problem with this.
Yes,
he's a big problem with a lot of things, and like he's like intrinsically involved with this, and we also have seen he's involved with Excalibur.
Right.
But also we get the fact that at the beginning, I think in Guardians, Wiccan has this moment where he says that he's like, I feel like something's wrong with someone who's close to me. Right?
Right.
At like post Hellfire Gala.
Oh no.
Oh, like he knows, no one's told him.
Right.
And so like Hulkling has split them up. Like Wiccan is off defending one of the planets. Hulkling's defending Hall, and it's not going well.
Yeah.
He puts everything he can into it, and like he's desperate to just save everyone he can.
Yes.
Like that's all he wants to do is try to keep everybody safe. But he's like, I totally failed, and like, I was in record time, and his accuser can't get to him, and like she's dealing with her own crap. They bring forth what's his name? Not the I want to call him the Guardian, but it's not that Captain Glory.
Okay.
Yeah. To help fight, and he does, but he like dies presumably.
Oh no.
But then Sword shows up,
right,
and they get Hulkling out of there in order to like heal him. She's like, don't worry, we can heal you pretty quickly, it'll be totally fine. And like she's like, they're like, we called out to Alpha Flight, and Alpha Flight didn't respond, and she's like, that's really not a surprise.
I heard about this. Yeah,
right. And like just like whatever, and then we get like the logs of Abigail Brand, and I'm like, yes. Yes, this is the Abigail Brand I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
this is the Abigail Brand who's like, listen, I'm gonna need all the checks and balances here. I'm gonna need all the favors lined up. And so she knows that she's like, listen, we have relations with everybody but basically the Kree Empire right now, right? Like, yeah, so we need to get in there, right? And so how are we going to do that? And so what she decides is that the best way to do it is to essentially, or the Kree Skrull, I should say, but whatever. That what she does is she intercepts the Alpha Flight transmission. She's like, I've been doing it with all of them.
Right. The reality is, like, if they called Alpha Flight, the Avengers would show up.
Well, yeah, she's like, Gyrich would have passed it on to the Avengers because honestly, he doesn't care and he's want to deal with it, so he just send it to them. But I can't have the Avengers come charging in when I need to come charging in.
Yes.
Because I need to get the Kree Skrull Empire on my side. Also, when Hulkling's mother-in-law is revealed to be dead,
I'm gonna need to pull in that favor.
I'm gonna need a little like leeway here.
Yes.
And so like she orchestrates the whole thing. She's like, I timed it down to the moment because she's got like camera set up so she could like see what was happening, so she knew exactly when to come in with the cavalry.
That's awesome.
I was like, that's Brand through and through.
Yep.
I mean, like, I can't, like, do I agree with that tactic? No.
Mm-hmm.
Do I love that in her character?
Yeah.
because
Right.
that's her being true to herself.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, that's
It's going to
fun.
get in her all kinds of trouble. It was a great issue, even though, again, it's a tie-in. And that's really what I'm struggling with, is that this book just keeps being a tie-in.
Yeah.
Like,
As long as it stays alive.
the trade is going to be bizarre.
Yeah. It's going to be referencing all kinds of things nobody cares
It's going
about.
to be bizarre, but yeah. So there it is. So if you're reading Sword, this one, and not anything going on with The Last Annihilation, you might want to look up a little context. Like I said, read that context page. Hopefully I helped you out a little bit with that. If you're someone who's reading Guardians of the Galaxy, you might want to pick this up. It's just really well written, and it's by the guy who's writing Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So maybe
Exactly.
you might dig it. You might not get some of the other Hellfire Gala stuff, but there's lots of like Hulkling, Kree Skrull, and Sword in there. So
Yeah. Nice. Abe Sapien helps out with a super sticker. Thank you very much,
thank
Abe.
you.
The Red Samurai asks us to do Batman Earth 1, Volume 3. Been waiting 6 years, and it's out long enough. So many teases for Volume 4. Yeah, we're going to see what happens with Volume 4. Volume 3 came out about 2 months ago, maybe less. And, so we're going to cover it on the couch one day when we get that team together. So thank you very much. Aussie Nerd, I always love finding new comics through your reviews. I'd love to join your Patreon when work starts up again. Doctor Strange is my favorite hero. Well, Aussie, you're in good company because Doctor Strange is one of Tiffany's favorite heroes as well. So I guess we could talk about this book that came out through Comixology, which I want to talk about Comixology in a minute, but we will in due time. This is Astonishing Times #1 from Frank Barbiere, Eris Quinones, and Ruari Coleman, and more. But these are names that I know who worked on this Comixology original series, or, well, right now it's a debut issue. I've seen some really nice write-ups for it. I've seen it all over the place. I've seen some preludes to it. Of course, because I know Eris, because Eris is the face of the Variant YouTube channel, one of the top biggest YouTube channels out there. So happy to see him making a lifelong dream come true, working with some really top tier talent. We know Ruari. I'm sorry, Ruari. But he's great. And Frank Barbiere is also a consummate creative and professional, and he knows what he's doing.
He worked on Five Ghosts, which is a book that I actually read.
And you love that book. Yeah,
I enjoyed that
good book.
Yeah.
So Astonishing Times, it's basically it's like an homage / love letter to basically the comics that these people creating this series love and the heroes that they look up to and aspire to be. Right? This is a fun little book that is basically it's about a fly on the wall character, a Jimmy Olsen, if you will, who is embroiled in a mystery that ropes him into the world that he aspires to defend and support. He's down on his luck. He's writing a column that his father, I believe, created, and then he took over for the Astonishing Times. And basically, he's like, this. We have gotten used to superheroes. It's a world where superheroes exist in this world, and he's like, we've gotten too used to superheroes. They're extraordinary. We live in astonishing times. That's the headline of the whole thing. But we need to start appreciating the fact that we live in a crazy world, and it's fun and it's cool, and superheroes are fun. Who doesn't love superheroes? The world disagrees with him, including his editor-in-chief, who is going to axe the column.
Which, by the way, he's even writing for a newspaper.
Yes.
Still.
Right.
Which
a
is
newspaper,
he's
which is already on the way down.
He's already in trouble.
Exactly.
But he loves it.
Yeah. So he's given basically 1 month to turn it around, or he's getting the axe. Probably going to get fired, but he has a child and a wife who needs him, and he can't bring himself to be honest with them about his head being on a chopping block, so to speak. And during his desperation for inspiration, he is tapped to investigate or assist in an investigation of a murder most foul. And he gets roped up in the kind of behind the scenes drama / murder mystery of the inner working of superheroes. Here's my comparison. This is, and if you want to speak in Hollywood terms, you gotta slap them together. You gotta take two things, put them together.
Okay.
This is Watchmen meets Overwatch.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I'd say this is Watchmen meets Mystery Men.
Okay.
because it's that like there are heroes everywhere
Yeah.
level, because like in Mystery Men, regardless of their powers, they're everywhere.
Right, they're
Like
everywhere.
they're integrated into society,
Yes.
right? But that like lived in feel
Yeah.
from Watchmen for
Mhm.
sure. Because like I like what I like about this is that like you have that like kind of like underbelly, that like darkness that like lives there.
Yeah, but it's
that's in
not
this
good. It doesn't have
universe.
that edge.
No,
It's
it
a
doesn't.
polished edge.
Well, because like this character is hopeful.
Right.
And so like I look forward to them being introduced to that darker side and their take on it.
Yeah.
Because it's like they have such a reverence and respect
Yes.
for these heroes
Yep.
and for the past that yeah, I'm very interested to
Yeah.
see. Because you don't always get that. A lot of times you get like the down on your luck person who's just like, oh, see, I was right or whatever. You know what I mean? But there's hope. There's hope in this world. And I like that a lot.
Me
It's not
too.
just one note.
But that's why it reminded me a little bit of Overwatch, because like when we when we meet the next hero in this story,
Mhm.
you know, he's retired, he's you know, he's underground. It
Mhm.
reminded me like of the reveals. Like you showed me
Like
Tiffany's
Soldier 76.
like Soldier 76.
Yeah.
Like when because you number one, you're a big Overwatch player. Number two, you I've watched the trailers for that
Mhm.
game so many times, the animatics, like the
Mhm.
actual FMVs. And you know, the idea of like there used to be these heroes and they were ubiquitous with society and culture, and
Yeah.
then they went away. Something happened and they went away, and like, but they can't help themselves, and they gotta try. And like Koken is basically that, where it's like, I gotta keep trying. And,
Yeah.
you know, you were this thing and now you're not. And like,
Mhm.
what happened to you?
Yeah.
Like what happened to Overwatch is what really like reminded me of
Yeah.
this.
What I like is that this guy's also just excited.
Yeah, he's like, oh my god, this is great. I mean, it's like the implication of what I'm involved in is really kind of scary, and yeah, it's a nice blend. It
Mhm.
reminded me a lot of the Impact Comics line of heroes, where it was like like serious things happened, but like there was a softer edge, so it wasn't necessarily like they were gonna pull the rug out from under you and be like, man, you're gonna think this is a superhero book, but actually look at all the rape and murder and like horrible like nonsense.
I don't know if I'm gonna go that
like I don't think
far,
we're getting that. I
but-
think this is
yeah.
gonna be just like, I think murder is the worst it's gonna get, which is fine, because like, first of all, murder, oh no, big stakes, but secondly, it is about hope at the end of the day.
It is, but it's also it seemingly is about like possibly about like not just blindly
Following your heroes,
yeah
like our main character does.
yeah
But yeah, so I dig it. I dig this series, or at least this first issue, and
Mhm.
you know, congratulations to Eris for making good. This is one of those books where it's like everything's kind of working, and I'm really impressed.
Mhm.
Like, number one, it's not self-published; it's a Comixology original. Number two, they aren't like Eris. From what I understand, I don't know if Eris ever actually written any other comics.
Mhm.
I think in the backup I read, and in my, you know, interactions with him,
Mhm.
this is the first one, and it's like he's working with Frank to tell the story and
Mhm.
to help him get a leg up and tell it more cohesively, and so you're getting like a polished actual comic book.
Mhm.
Just, you know what I mean? I mean, Coleman's pencils give this book a lot of life.
Yeah.
I should also point out the colors, which I think are also helping a lot, and that's Lauren Affey.
Yeah, they're really nice.
They're nice.
They're
They're
very
nice, right? Yeah. No, I like the newspaper info pages.
Yeah,
because
they're fun.
graphically speaking, it, like, again, like it's a polished book.
Mhm.
Like, I actually appreciate, like, you know, it's, for all intents and purposes, it's self-published,
Mhm.
but it looks like a top tier comic.
Yeah,
And
it
that's like
looks
one of
great.
those things where out there you want to make your own comic, probably if you read comics a lot and you enjoy this show.
Mhm.
And like, this is a good example of selling a premise,
Yes.
debuting an issue,
Mhm.
and in terms of like arrangement, like
Mhm.
it's a cohesive, well-made, industry level quality comic book.
Right.
So like on all those technical levels, it is an achievement.
Mhm.
And also it's a fun damn story.
It really is. Like it's a solid mystery in a world that actually feels lived in. Like I don't feel like we're just like, you know, oh, this world's brand new. It doesn't feel like that, even if it is.
No.
And I think that that's an achievement.
Well, and like, you know, when it comes to self-publishing or working in this kind of arena, you know, usually it's because, you know, a lot of folk, if they're telling a story with a whole cast of original characters, it's
Mhm.
like the only agenda here is hope. And I think that's an agenda we can all get behind.
Yeah.
So I'm on board.
Absolutely.
So congrats to them for their debut.
Yes.
Heard a lot of nice things about it
Mhm.
leading up to it. I'm happy to say that I bought it and I dug it and I appreciate it.
Yes.
I want to talk about Comixology for a second. How many other books do you have left?
I'm done.
Okay. So Scott Snyder has an exclusivity contract with Comixology to debut a number of books under his Best Jacket Press imprint. And I wanted to talk to you about that because I would like to hear your opinion. We never actually talked about it.
Right.
And I think I teased about it last episode or last issue. What were your thoughts on that deal, on that exclusivity kind of deal with Scott? Because like on one hand, you got something like Astonishing Times, which is a really great like publishing initiative that is like it just got a lot of synergy going on. You know, Comixology is pushing it in a nice way where it doesn't feel invasive or intrusive, and it feels like it comes from a place of like genuine creativity. And then you have like, but also, you know, like I dig these creators, but they're on the fringe more or less. Whereas Scott Snyder has, you know, multiple awards and like, you know, he wrote Batman and everything. So, you know, then you got Scott who's doing his own thing with Comixology. It feels like night and day in terms of comparison.
Okay. So listen, I'm not like, there's like two sides to this for me. I don't want to begrudge anybody the opportunity for like a little like hustle. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
Out there, he's doing his thing. I have no doubt that he has 8 stories he'd like to tell.
Yeah.
That doesn't
right.
I don't deny that whatsoever. I will say I like the idea of like a solid mixture of Comixology, like utilizing top tier talent out there. We're also getting in some new blood simultaneously because the top tier brings people in to try the Comixology originals.
Yes.
And it's like, I had a good experience with this. Maybe I might have a good experience with that.
Totally.
But I feel like taking up 8 slots is a lot.
Do you feel like it's taking room away from someone else? Or do you feel like it's just that it's asking a lot to give Scott 8 books at once?
I mean, I guess it really, I don't know what the like budget looks like.
Right.
For these books.
Well, it's his budget.
How it breaks down for like who's paying for what.
Right. Like is he
thing.
being paid by Comixology / Amazon to produce these? As I understand it, these are books that Scott would make with anybody. Like that Scott was going to make these books, hell or high water, and that the method for distribution that made the most sense was with Comixology. But if Comixology wasn't going to play ball, he would have gone to anybody else. Image Boom, DC.
So if that means that Comixology / Amazon had a budget for that, then yeah, I would say that it did take away from.
Well, I think he produced these. I think he produced these himself. Like that, there is no budget from Comixology. It's more just.
You don't think he was paid to?
No, I think he paid for this out of pocket.
Okay. Well, then it would just come down to how they feel their release schedule is. Like if they're just like, hey, we only release X amount of titles per.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to shotgun it and be like, here's everything.
No, I mean like each week that they have a title or like coming out, like if Scott Snyder's taking up a slot that another creator could have taken up, they're like, oh, we don't want to put another book out. We're already stretching ourselves a little thin here in terms of like ask from our readers. Then yeah, that there it could definitely take the spot.
I don't know. I don't believe in the idea that if someone gets something, it has to get away from someone else. Like, I think that in terms of with digital publishing, at least, you could publish 1,000 comics. It doesn't really matter.
But don't forget that these are the guys who actually have the numbers.
Right. Yeah.
And so like they might know that it's like if we put out this many, we will see diminishing returns. They may know that.
Yeah.
And so in that case, though, they might say like, well, we're going to put out the Snyder book.
Right.
As opposed to your book. Or your book.
Right.
You know, because.
Well, I mean, like, and that's true. And
like anyone can put anything on Comixology, but you're not going to have the full push of Comixology behind it. Like when you open up the website or the app, like that banner ad at the top being like, hey, check out the new thing.
Right, of course.
You know, anybody could put anything up there.
Well, since it's exclusive, it's going to be really pushed. Like it's going to be visible as opposed to if you self-publish a book and you're gonna have to go look for it.
Right. And I mean, I will say though, like I said, if it's just to get that name recognition, to get some of these like bigger creators more known by the comic book community to check out some Comixology originals and maybe find something else there that they didn't know about or they were on the fence about, like Astonishing
Times, yes.
For example, then like that's a great move, but it's just a lot to promise. I feel like eight just sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot.
It does. Well, but then you look at the creative team, right? And
No, I
it's
get
Scott
it.
Snyder
It's just
working
people
with
he wants to work
Greg
with.
Capullo, Frank Avila, Jamal Engel, Jock, Tulo Tay, Francis Manipul, Dan Panosian. These books are gonna be freaking amazing looking.
Yeah.
Like we have Demons with Capullo and Snyder on like an independent book. Like that just sounds awesome. Barnstormers is my favorite.
Okay.
That one's got Tula Lote on the art. It's a love story set like in the turn of the century about like airline or about like pilots. I don't know. I loved it. Just the image alone, the cover.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like, okay, for me, everything else is gravy. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But I think it's cool. I really don't have a problem with it. I saw somebody saying like, I can't believe that Scott Snyder like sold out, and I'm like, what are you friggin'
I don't think
crazy?
he
Like, of
sold
course
out.
he's Scott Snyder. Whoever he works with is going to be perceived by you as a sellout. Like, if he went with DC, that's actually less selling out because he's actually giving up more rights and money to people, like to a company. If he through Image. That's all his, but he's also on the hook for it, with Comixology. I'm sure they are supplementing at the very least distribution, but because they're exclusivity and because they're digital.
Well, it is going to print.
It will go to print. Yes. So that
through Dark Horse.
Right. And the Dark Horse thing is just like, because Dark Horse is like, we will outbid everyone because we need it desperately. But yeah, so, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. I don't see it as a trend. I don't think this is like the way things are going to go.
I got to be honest. You know what I'm the most surprised by? The most surprised by is that one of those wasn't a Boom book.
I think that all of these would be Boom books if it weren't for the fact that
I feel like Boom would have been like, you may have one.
Right. We're not publishing 8 books by you guys. That's true. But I can also see I'm shocked. Well, I think that Scott wants to keep it all cohesive. You know what I mean? Like one publisher, all these books.
Maybe. Oh, do you think he went to DC and tried to pitch a Hill House?
Yeah, like a Scott Snyder imprint.
Yeah,
best jacket through DC. I don't think so, and the only reason why I don't think so is because if he did that, I got to cut it with you.
That's true.
I could always do that. Like I feel like he could always make that deal, and DC will take a wider percentage. Whereas if this, they know he could always go to DC.
Oh,
where it's like, oh, you know what? Like, actually, I'm going to take 75, 85, 90% because I know that I could go with DC. And if you want any amount, you'll make the deal with me.
I mean, it could also be, depending on how these stories are formatted and such and how they read, they could also be pitches.
Oh, they're all pitches. There's no question they're all pitches.
Especially when you're talking about them being connected to Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing is that I'm assuming that Amazon has, and I think he's actually said this, that Amazon has first refusal on all these books to option them. Which like, oh, no. Amazon? You mean that thing that everyone has that has a literal streaming service attached to it? Yeah, no shit. Like, and you know what? I don't think Amazon will make shows out of all of these.
No, but they might make.
They'll make at least one, and then Scott will take them to everybody else. Netflix, HBO Max, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting, right?
Yes.
Joey Amorim says, "Hey guys, what up, Joey?
Hi.
Thanks a lot for your support and everything." So Superman, right? Superman #1 from Tom Taylor. Actually, I'm sorry.
I forgot we had books to talk about.
We have one more, and it's Superman, Son of Kal-El, and it is, of course, it is written by Tom Taylor. God, who did the art here? I'm gonna zoom in on this thing.
Okay.
John Timms, which is a name I did not recognize immediately.
Okay.
But yeah, Tom Taylor, John Timms. So for all intents and purposes, it's a debut of a new series. We've been hearing about this forever, ever since they announced Future State. We knew that John was going to take over as Superman, and we didn't really hear any kind of discussion about why or whether that was just a Future State idea or whether that was the plan from here on out. And I've been talking about this forever, the fact that like Future State may have been a retooled 5G, but money was spent and decisions were made that were within, like, that basically encompassed 2 years.
Mhm.
And some of those things can't be undone, or at the very least can't be undrawn and paid for. And I think Son of Kal-El is one of those books where it's like we were always going to shunt Clark away,
Yeah.
and we were going to have John ascend to Superman status for whatever reason.
Mhm.
And even though it doesn't really line up with any of the other books or Infinite Frontier or literally with whatever, we're going to do it anyway
Mhm.
because we did it. And so here it is. This is a really, really lovely Superman book.
Okay.
Right? It's a really lovely Superman book. It retells you a new rebirth version of John's birth, which kind of marries the two, the convergence birth and the
Mhm.
rebirth birth into a new rebirth birth, where John was born in the fortress, but to Superman and Lois, Batman and the Justice League like facilitated, it's his protection,
Mhm.
and um, and then we get basically a Superman story
Mhm.
where John saves the day. There's a dude with new powers who's combustible, and the U.S. government or the military is going to kill him, and he's stressed out. And John diffuses the situation with compassion, like Superman would.
Mhm.
And he doesn't know how to solve this problem. This guy is combustible. The U.S. government says they know what to do, so he kind of hands them over. But then they mistreat him, and so he has to get involved, and he doesn't know what to do. So he goes to his best friend Damian, who is in the middle of a Robin book that Josh Williamson's writing. And Damian, like they said in the comments, basically acts like Tom Taylor's Damian from DC's.
Okay.
And I kind of dug it because it acclimates you. You know exactly where and when this book takes place. I think
Mhm.
this will probably be the only John interaction with Damian on the Robin run, but we'll see. But basically, Damian gives John some cogent, level-headed, kind, compassionate advice, and then the book ends. And it's like, I guess that is kind of antithetical to who Damian is, but whatever. You know what? They're friends, and Damian can be vulnerable in front of John, despite the fact they have like a significant age difference, despite the fact that the art looks totally different and that
Mhm.
they don't look like they have an age difference. So, this story, the concept, if you will, of Superman diffusing a situation with compassion, Clark could have done that at any point.
Mhm.
Uh, and that he like doubts his decision. He second guesses himself. Yep, Superman does that.
Yeah,
And Superman
absolutely.
goes to a Bat character to ask for counsel because he's a human being with boots on the ground. Yep, Clark could have done that. Tom Taylor gets Superman, and he understands how to depict him and make him interesting and compassionate and like not contradictory to his nature. He also does a nice job of like kind of continuity proofing the book.
Mhm.
Um, Overall, the art's great, and the story is, it's one part continuity refix, it's one part mini story, and then it's one part conversation. So like,
Okay.
there's not really like a story. It's
Mhm.
just more like a little series of vignettes.
Mhm.
Um, but at the end of the day, my question is, why does this book exist? Like, what is DC's issue here? Because DC had something with John, and we know that the previous administration, or at the very least one member of that administration, had a real problem with aging these characters, and with John especially,
Mm.
and with John being a kid.
Mhm.
And that even after that person's ousting, the new guy they brought in from the other company aged him up and made him a different character.
Mhm.
And no one really understood why they did that.
Right.
And nobody really did anything interesting with that,
No.
despite that creative decision.
Right.
That they had years of potential with this young character, but
Mhm.
refused to do it and instead changed it to something totally different. And so my question is like, what's going on at DC that makes them feel this way? Like, why did they do this? And everything that they have done since then has been almost deliberately contrary to the natural decision, which would be to de-age the character.
Mhm.
Like, just from a sales perspective, you
Right.
don't need two Supermen running around. Spider-Verse be damned. You don't need redundancies bouncing around. A council of Supermen is not a great idea, or at the very least, it's not a very interesting one. And if you feel like your character, your Mickey Mouse, so to speak, is old and busted and not very relatable, you don't know what to do with that character. You don't take him out of the situation where he's never been in, like raising a kid who has superpowers, and get 2 books out of it at least, one about the kid and one about the adult who's raising the kid. You instead then age up that child and make 2 Superman books. So now you've made your main Superman book, which already you've established can't sell very well, irrelevant. You've made it redundant. Because this book is just about Superman being Superman. John behaving like Clark. Who cares? Like, why? That's not interesting to me. It's not interesting to me to see a character who's artificially aged up, who doesn't have the decades of experience, or even just multiple years, less than 5 years worth, less than 3 years worth of existence. It just seems like, why? Like, why? It's such a weird decision to shoot yourself in the foot creatively, to hamstring your creators. Maybe I'm yelling at clouds. Maybe I'm sounding like people when they married Spider-Man. I'm like, why would you do that? Spider-Man is and always has been Archie Andrews, and he has to have dates with multiple characters. And when you hamstring him like this, when you marry him to one person, you have no stories to tell with this character. I should know. I've been married for 25 years, and I don't have any stories or any new experiences with my wife.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm willing to admit that I might be completely off base here, but it feels like, from the prevailing opinion, that DC has some kind of weird, and this is not out of character for DC, to have a weird agenda about certain characters that are artificially pushed in a direction that doesn't jive with the audience at large. And I say these things not to satisfy my own ego and to complain on my own show, but more because people, when it comes to comic books, are less discerning than others. And it makes me frustrated because they're like, "Whoa, this is great!" And it's like, of course it's great. Tom Taylor wrote it. He's a good writer. But should it exist?
That's fair.
And that's my question.
That's absolutely fair.
Right? Like, this book is superfluous because Superman already exists. He wasn't broken. He wasn't even in a bad place. He was in a better place. And now you have a character you don't know. Like, you don't know him because he's not the same character he was. He's a blank slate for any creator to do whatever they want with them. And you like Tom Taylor's version of him because you've read 3 volumes of Tom Taylor's John in an alternate reality.
Right.
So, what this character is, according to Tom Taylor, in another reality. But that's not what this character really is. And all it provides is complications. If they screw up Superman bad enough or complicate him too much, it just takes that one complicated character to cause a crisis again, to make the publisher think they got to reset again. Because DC is that volatile. And they're not run by people who understand this company anymore. So, I don't know. It just seems like a really weird creative decision made by non-creative people.
Yeah. Well, it also just seems like, I mean, the fact is, these folks, they got to make money.
Right. And
these folks got to make money. And I'm not just talking about DC, I'm talking about the creators themselves.
Everybody's got to make money.
They got to make money. And you literally have a character that it's very clear they don't know what to do with it now. And it seems like the idea of, for them, and again, I'm talking out of my butt right now, basically.
So am I.
But the fact that it's it feels like the idea of reversing this decision to them is negative.
Right. It's addressing that they failed. And it's you could literally blame it all on the guy that you erased exclusive contracts for.
Right.
Over.
Well, and it's just funny because it's that could very well be. That could be, and that could not be at the creative level. That could not be even at the level above that. That could be from a totally different level, or it's we don't go back.
We don't. Well, I can't be made to look foolish. I can't be made to look wrong. And that kind of ego, I'm not even gonna suggest it exists. I can confirm it exists.
It's either that
in
or
this industry and in all creative industries.
right. And I mean, it could look. It could be that. It could be the fact that they like the creatives really just enjoy this character
Right.
the way it is. Like they could be like, no, I do want to tell these stories.
Yeah.
I do have stories to tell. And like,
well, then where the hell are they?
but that would be, and I'll be honest, that would be nice.
Right.
Right. As opposed to like the more
alternative
cynical version that I have in my head. That is that they're like, okay, what about this?
Right.
What if we do inevitably H him down? But first, we beat this character into the ground to get all the stories we can out of it.
Right. Right. We run them into the ground because they've definitely done that. I mean, like
we'll just make as much money as we can off of this, and then we'll make more money off the next thing.
Right. Because they're like future proofing their jobs.
And I'm not saying that's the creatives talking.
No,
I'm talking at a different level.
Right. I'm just thinking like because and you know what's funny? That's a Marvel centric idea is what I'm thinking of, which is Marvel's like, how do I make as much money right now? Right. It's just like I need to make a quick buck right now at the expense of literally everything else. I need to make money right now. Right now.
Some of it isn't so, and I say both companies have.
But that's Marvel strategy. Yeah. But DC is like, well, like I need to make money, but I can't. And maybe it is that they need to go Marvel with it because it used to be, well, I've got 10 years. Hell, I got 5. Like I don't need to age John down now and make all the money right now. But like. I could be fired tomorrow because in the changing climate, like today, DC, like, yeah, no, I could be fired tomorrow. And so I better just make as much as I can, like you said, and just do this. Like it would take more time and effort to de-age John and get things back to the status quo. I'd have to write too many emails.
Right. I mean, it's either that or the fact that like, obviously, Williamson's doing something.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah,
they're like, everything right now
is up
does or does not matter.
Right.
Like right now it all matters.
Yeah.
But it may not on the other side.
Right. But yeah.
And so maybe it's just an opportunity to try some stuff.
Yeah. Like let's do it because Josh has a plan and at the end of it, John is going to be de-aged.
I don't know.
But like, well, I'm not saying that that's the case. I know Josh, he's been on the show. He has never told me this for the record. Like,
yeah.
I don't know anything about the plans for Infinite Frontier. He has never told me and he won't. But like my problem is what if they like it? Like you can't. Let's just do everything.
No, well,
because you know what you get out of that? You get Death of Superman. You get Nightfall. You get like you know what I mean? Like you don't.
Well, if they like it and they see sales from it, it means someone likes it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying them. Like, what if they like it? Like,
yeah.
What? But if your plan is to undo it at the end of an event,
then you're gonna have to.
Then you gotta make everyone happy, which is impossible to do. And so that's my thing all the time, which is like, why don't you just think about it? Like, just think about what the consequences of what you're doing are going to be 6 months from now. And then think, do I want to go down that road? And then it's like, and I really feel like most of these people who make these decisions are like, I appreciate you thinking that. But the reality is I'm not walking that road. I just collect tolls from it. Like someone else is going to have to walk down that road. And I'll just make money off of it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those like reality check moments where it's like, oh, like you don't care because it doesn't affect you at all. Like you affect it, but it doesn't affect you. Like I can make John do anything, and I can make the audience like I can manipulate the audience such that like they love John Kent. 19-year-old Superman and the journey he goes on and how he gets drugged through the mud, but people like Tom Taylor who are never going to write a murderous, crazy, rampaging Superman for John Kent will never do, and make him justifiable. And we're going to go on this journey with him and we're going to watch him, rise up and like, love him as a result, only to then invalidate all that and make him a kid again.
Okay. So you say invalidate, but if written properly, you could, if on the other side, again, this is all
speculation.
This is all just a thought exercise.
Right.
If they were to do something like that, I think a lot of folk right now on this side of it would feel like that's a terrible idea because we saw that happen.
Right.
But if you get a narratively satisfying ending to this iteration of John and then it happened, you would miss him, but you wouldn't feel so gypped. Yeah, I don't use that word. You wouldn't feel so stolen.
Robbed.
Essentially, because it's like with John, the way he was aged up was not necessarily narratively satisfying to like everyone.
I think that Child John was only a problem for someone at the top.
Well, sure, no, but I'm just saying, like the way it happened, wasn't necessarily like
clean.
Yeah, like it didn't bring that satisfaction. And
Right.
so like if it did, it would still suck, but at least it wouldn't be so raw.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if that were to happen again, if they were able to do it in a satisfying manner,
Yeah.
it would probably be like, oh, all right, you know what? I really like this and I do miss him, but like it made sense.
Yeah. Right. But it didn't. And it doesn't.
Well, if in the future,
Oh,
it
yeah.
could.
But if they do it later, yeah. This is the Superman Son of Kal-El from Tom Taylor. And, you know, this book, I think, is the consequence of a number of factors.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything, like it's never just one thing. I believe that it is the result of money spent on Future State / 5G, promises that were made for creative teams that didn't have a future after this,
Mm-hmm.
and weird ego-driven decisions made by people who might not even work there anymore.
It could.
And that's my problem with these kinds of books is like, just slap an Elseworlds label on it and call it a goddamn day. Like,
well, they don't like those imprints.
I know, but they do though. They make them all the time.
them.
By the time this episode ends, DC's already created 3 more imprints.
It's not that bad.
It's that bad.
It's not that bad.
It is exactly.
It's just the
that bad.
DC horror one.
It's just that all of them. What is Black Label?
Well, it's Batman now.
Right.
It's Batman label.
Bat Label.
It's Bat Label, and then they had Hill House.
Yep.
And there is another Hill House book coming out, but it's not written by Joe Hill, but it is a sequel to Basket Full of Heads.
Yes. And is that a Hill House book?
Full of Heads. Yes.
Right.
But then there's also DC Horror,
which is not a Hill House imprint.
No,
that's DC
different.
Horror.
Anyway.
So yeah, the book is good, you know, but at what cost? And that's the thing, right? Like for me, it's Superman Son of Kal-El. Yeah, it's written well. It's by freaking Tom Taylor. It's not going to be bad. It might be not your cup of tea because art is subjective, but it's not going to be bad. And yes, is it nice and sweet and inspiring and all that stuff? Like, yeah, it's Superman. But like, there's nothing in here that couldn't have been Kal, except for the fact that like it's a but you had to retell his origin in another way in order to even tell that story. Like you had to redo everything just to get yourself to the point that we're already at.
Right.
Just it feels very artificial and very, very hollow, and it seems like a thing that doesn't need to exist.
Oh, all right.
Will.i.am Golden, what's up, you guys? Have either of you tried the new Icons book? If so, what are your thoughts on Icon's new suit? I don't like Icon in red.
Okay.
I don't like it at all. Kali Frederick, Damian looked a bit older to me in this book. Yeah, he did. He was written older too. NB Yellow Paladin, I'm enjoying every super book right now, from Supergirl, Action, and The Authority. I enjoy this new Superman book. Yeah, you do. Of course you do. It's engineered to be that way. He also says, for me, John represents the good part of Rebirth, and aging him up was the true death of Rebirth. Yeah, Doomsday Clock was the death of Rebirth, but yeah, like that's it. Like, right? That's the thing, is that like, of course you like it, you know?
Well, I mean, for them, they were just saying that for them, aging up John.
Yeah, but I agreed with you. Like,
yeah.
You know, you're not
like
wrong.
That literal action is interesting because it's like John was like a rebirth. Like,
yeah, he got rebirthed.
Yeah.
Out of that. Yeah, no, it's true. Dan V900, a bizarre thing is that Bendis had Superman reveal his identity to make his mark. As he said in an interview, it led to nothing interesting and was a terrible idea. Just why along with aging up John? Yeah, there's 2 decisions he made that didn't fix anything, that didn't really engender him to the audience. And also DC stuck to it and won't undo it. Like both those things are things that DC will have to explain at the next reboot.
Well, it does show that they do back their creators.
The ones they spend truckloads of money on, so they look embarrassing to throw under the bus. Unlike Peter J. Tomasi, they could just throw under the bus anytime they want to. Mikey Jesus, DC has been out of touch since AT&T. Art be damned. Yeah, no, I think the AT&T merger was a terrible idea at this point. But now they're under Discovery or something, so who knows? Dan V900, Philip Kennedy Johnson said he wouldn't de-age John since that's disrespectful to Bendis. What about Bendis screwing over Tomasi and Gleason just week? Yeah, that's a cop-out is what they're called.
No, that's not necessarily a cop-out. I mean, that's just saying like, while Bendis might have done that to these other creators,
yeah, I'm not going to do that.
I don't want to.
I have more integrity.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No,
like,
I agree.
You know, that's like, you know, if like from on high they were like de-age him, he's like, I couldn't help it. I had to do it.
They told me to do it.
But like, if he's like making that creative decision, he's like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah,
and I respect that.
Right. PKJ saying that is incredibly hypocritical, though. because like every creator does something to undo or invalidate the previous creator.
Right,
and-
but it's usually not so hot on the heels
Right.
and like not something that was so like this is my mark making thing.
Yeah,
Usually
except
it's
like
a little something, or
right.
it's like years later.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like he works in the same office as this guy.
Right.
Well,
Right.
they go to the same meetings.
They have the same Zoom calls. But yeah,
That's
because they don't go to meetings anymore.
no, I know.
But otherwise, I mean, you know, those are the books. Let's talk about books that are coming out
Let's do that.
that we think you should pick up.
I think we should do that.
Sinister War #2 is coming out. Hooray!
Hooray!
I'm digging this. It's weird.
It's like,
Tiffany,
where do you even see that?
You've at least 3 at the top row there.
I do have at least 3 at the top row. Hellings #14 is coming out. X-Men #2 is coming out. The Nice House on the Lake at #3 is coming out. Super excited about that. Swamp Thing #6. And I'm definitely picking up Savage Avengers #23.
Naturally.
At this point, the only place you can get Doctor Strange are in other people's books, obviously. So I'm going to do that. The Me You Love in the Dark #1 is finally coming out. I've read both issues.
Yes, I still haven't read the second one.
I read issue 1 and 2, and I'm super excited for this. Yeah.
Yep.
Just can't wait.
Justice League Infinity #2 is coming out from DeMatteis. It's a continuation of the Justice League animated series. I liked the first one well enough. If there's less Jean monologues, I'll be a lifer. So I can't wait.
What is this? Joker Presents.
Where's that?
This is the Joker Presents a puzzle box.
I have no idea.
Well, that's coming out too.
Yeah, great.
I don't even know what that's by.
Let's just look at it.
I gotta know.
It's from Matthew Rosenberg and Joshua Hickson. I think it's I don't know what the hell it is. Maybe it's part of that like Black Label Joker.
It's just something about the GCTBD discovering a mysterious corpse.
Oh no.
Maybe it's the Hellraiser.
Maybe.
It's Pinhead. He's coming. The Conjuring #3 is coming out. I've been enjoying that DC horror.
That's
book.
right. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I do like it.
Right. And I think that may be it
For you?
for me.
You're going by more quickly than I normally do because I am a not very quick
Well, I just go by
reader.
the cover image. I'm just like, who's
I'm
that?
reading the thing. I have to read the words because I
know.
like reading these words.
Yes, that's established.
That is established by me. I'm sure there's more, and that's not that. How about that? I don't promise that those are the only things I'm picking up.
No.
But those are just things I'm inside about right now.
Exactly. And there's books that came out like over the last couple of weeks that we haven't had a chance to talk about.
That's true.
So we'll be reading those as well. But otherwise, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much to our for your support, for super chats, for everything.
Mm-hmm.
We really, really appreciate it. And so we'll get to you next week. But otherwise, of course, there's so much more here on this channel and over on youtube.com/ComicPop. Subscribe to both. Save yourself some time. If you want to follow us more, you can also go to twitch.tv/ComicPop. Watch us play video games. You can also follow us on TikTok at ComicPapa, which is a thing that I hate that we do.
Who came up with that?
I did.
Oh, nice.
Kelly Frederick, Queen Storm, was one of my favorite things this week. Yeah, she's great.
I love her.
Right? Yeah. I just like how much doom is happening.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us and, of course, supporting us. If you want to do so more, the best way to do it, subscribe and like the videos. That's how everybody at YouTube knows that people want to see more of it. So thank you all for listening to our opinions, and we will see you guys next time with more. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody.